yardage. Second down. To throw is Favre. The first catch of the game for George Kittle. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
Right where this set of downs started, they need a full 10 here to pick up the first down and move the chains.
They're able to haul it in as Kittle. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. Javon Kirsch there to get him down.
Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And it was there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
It's a gain of 6, moves him to a manageable 3rd and 2 situation.
Here's Favre to throw.
And down he goes. Pressure gets him back at the 14. The Mississippi State man, Chris Jones, with a sack there.
Chris Jones is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, and I think he's at his best when he plays defensive tackle. Consistently gets to the quarterback, 9 sacks in 2021.
The Hall of Famer's kick is good, but hang on, a flag is down. Now, if it's on the defense, they might decline it and take the points.
So they'll go ahead and accept the penalty.
So now then, the penalty's got him set up with a 1st and goal.
From the shotgun, it's Favre.
This is caught. That'll bring up 2nd and goal after the gain of 5.
Such a tough position to defend near the line, even when you add a second defender, but the big man shrugged off the extra body and made the play call a success.
From the gun, it's Favre. Again to the big tight end, George Kittle.
Touchdown! George Kittle, a 2-yard touchdown grab. And the NFC is in for 6. Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that makes the score 7-0. So that drive, 12 plays in length.
And it all ends with a George Kittle touchdown. This fielded right at the goal line. And he'll get it up past the 20 to about the 22. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure, it was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant, but it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD, 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame,
a leap and he will make the catch. And they work this well upfield across the 45.
But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968, and that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, in the NFL were about to go on.
That one good for 16 as the drive continues. From the 34 now, here's 1st and 10. They fake the handoff. Now Brady. He lets this one fly toward the back of the end zone. And it is incomplete. Good positioning there downfield to break that one up. Brady's incompletion on 1st down leads to a 2nd and 10. Now a carry for Allen. And not much running room. Down to the 32. They do get a couple, but they'll be left staring at a 3rd and 8 coming up. Pretty good little 2-play sequence there. You force the incompletion, then a very short pickup.
Yeah, now maybe you bring in an extra defensive back or two because you want to try and defend on 3rd down. They like to play those nickel or sub packages, don't they?
He's going to let this go. Back of the end zone. And that will be incomplete. Oh, he left that one in a bad spot, but fortunately it's just an incompletion and not picked to bring up 4th down. They'll go for it. It's Brady. Flushed out right. Able to spin free. And they'll get this one to about the 20-yard line. And we're going to get a timeout with 2 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter. So with 2 ticks left here in the half, on is the field goal unit. Right hash, 37-yard attempt. And it's a wobbler, but he does get it to go as it creeps over the ball. So we are at halftime of the John Madden Legacy game, and now we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left. Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. Now, the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the number 1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Well, they've got the slim deficit, decided to go for it, hoping to keep the football score and erase that deficit. But, boy, deep in their own territory like that?
Let's just say that with that call, me and the head coach will agree to disagree. All right, but he knew he wanted to be aggressive there, as you pointed out. So I'll guarantee he told his defensive coordinator, have your guys up and ready. I'm going to go for it here. If we don't get it, just make sure they're ready to go out there and bail us out.
A bit of an opening there on the first down run as they get this forward for about 6 yards. 6 yards on that last play. Here's 2nd and 4. Favre dancing to his left. And they're going to be set up now with the ball at the 13-yard line. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together.
And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. Jason Witten from 6 yards away. And the NFC is in for 6. Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that pushes the lead up to 11. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Fielded just outside the goal line.
And not much happening on the return as he'll get this to about the 23. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Throwing is Mahomes on third. And that is incomplete.
Well, he's smart enough to avoid the taunting rule, but I'll guarantee he quietly has told them, you might want to stop coming after me downfield because I just broke up another pass and took away a big shot that you were trying to succeed with.
Mahomes throwing on fourth. That one caught by Tyreek Hill. And he is going to be taken down with a big gainer there on fourth, and the AFC going to keep the drive alive. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden legacy game, it's the NFC stars and young Coach Madden on top. And we'll be back to the Coliseum after this. Throwing on first down is Mahomes. And they'll get this down to the 42-yard line. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular...
Oh, a contested ball here, and it's going to be caught. That goes for a gain of 31. You're at the point in the game right now where you got to start taking some chances, and that chance paid off.
And it's a good idea to be that aggressive because, truthfully, the defensive guys, they're just playing not to make a mistake. That often means you can make a big play against them.
And he'll go down here at the 12-yard line. The last run got 6, now 2nd and 4. Looking to throw is Mahomes. Flush to his right. Right side catch. This is Gates. And he is going to lose yardage here. So the AFC with the football as we welcome you back. They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks. Mahomes will throw. To the end zone, but it's incomplete.
That means it's just one last chance left, and this has to be a first down or a touchdown, or this game's over.
Now Mahomes got to have this one. And it's incomplete. They cannot convert, and they turn it over. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and as a result, possession switches hands. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And a few kneel downs should come very close to finishing this one off, depending on whether or not we see any defensive timeouts. They still have 2, but using them would just be prolonging what's really already been decided. Have to imagine this will be on the ground as well as they come up 2nd and 7. Another run here with Sanders. And he'll take this up only to about his 18-yard line.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11-on-11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden, the video game, continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies.
Now a desperation throw deep downfield. And this one is incomplete.
I like the fact that he took the shot deep downfield. Even if you don't get the catch, maybe you get a defensive penalty and pick up the yardage that way.
He's going to let it fly. And that will be incomplete. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.